What's up? TWOSUN. Let's get it out of the box, get it checked in, find out what it is, get it cleaned up, tuned up, sharpened up, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so this is a TS16 in M390. And this is a lot like another knife that I have. It's the tin and mortise knife, and I don't know the number designation. I'd have to look it up. I keep all my TWOSUN knives on a spreadsheet with a picture and a few notes and what I paid for it, and I grade some of them. But this has got the exact same M390 blade that tin and mortise knife has, and for all I know, it's the same. It's the same TS number. I didn't even look at that. But very similar, and this has been for sale on eBay lately, and man, I thought I'm going to get one of those. Kind of oily. It's not super bad for a TWOSUN. It's got a little bit on it, but you can see the M390 on there. Let's see what's up. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, kind of gritty. Kind of gritty feeling that when I close it right there when it catches that detent ball. Wherever that's riding, it's catching something. And but almost for the most part, I'm going to say from the detent down, basically drop shut. Yeah, pretty cool. Let's get that oil off of it. And clean it up just a little bit, and then we'll get it apart. Yeah, pretty cool. Night morning design. I even think that might be like the old logo. It's just spelled out versus the actual logo. So yeah, this is one of those, and I've got a few going right now that I've seen a long time ago, and I just couldn't get the price right, and then they kind of disappeared. Well, popped back into eBay after a while, and lo and behold, boom, there it is. So, yeah, let's get it apart and cleaned up. We'll put it back together and then wrap up. Yeah, that come apart pretty easy. No Loctite in there. Wasn't super tight. Not sure if I'll need to Loctite that, but maybe. So that screw's pretty tight. It's going to get me to get my... This little Weeha Boker, man, the leverage on this is so much better than any of the multitudes of screwdrivers and kits that I have. Because I have a couple. But when I have a screw that I got to bust loose, this is the one I grab. It just, for me, man, that detent sprung. But if I can't get it loose with this, I don't know what I'd do. I've yet to encounter one, but if I couldn't get it loose with this screwdriver, I might not be able to get it. And that lock bar and that detent just went sprung and sprung. So I've been saying this over a couple of knives. I've got a few TWOSUNs coming in from auctions right now that, it looks pretty clean. It's oily, but ain't nobody complaining about somebody shipping an oily knife. Unless you're not down to take them apart. If you don't want to take them apart, all that oil could be a bummer, because unfortunately it gets in everything, where if you don't take it apart and clean that out, you're going to have oil weeping out of this knife every time you touch it. Every time you touch it, it's going to be coming out of somewhere because it's inside there, and you got to get it apart and get all that wiped out of there. So from that perspective, it's kind of a bummer. But I don't know, I've said it before. I don't mind, because I want to take it apart. I kind of want to see what's up in here, and I don't know, it helps build confidence on my side in the knife. I can see the components, how they fit. Do they fit? I mean, is something jerry-rigged in there? Are pieces, you know, that aren't machined properly or fit right? Are they jammed in there to finish the product? And I've seen it. I haven't seen it on a TWOSUN knife. I feel pretty confident about their manufacturing from that perspective. Now, I don't know. I mean, I see some guys, they go, hey, you know what? I have one TWOSUN knife that the detent's horrible, and I've tried to tune it, I've worked on it, and I can't improve this knife. And so I've got one, and one out of hundreds, I don't feel so bad. I mean, I guess part of me feels like it should be none. You know, why would you sell it if you can't make it properly? But you know, for me right now, it's just kind of in the category of, I don't know. I got a lemon. I got a bad one or something. Yeah, it's kind of that particular knife. I reviewed it, and I don't think it's too far from where I'm at. Since I mentioned it, I probably should snatch it out and lay it on the table. Just because if I was watching this video, I'd be like, well, which knife is it, man? I mean, save me the hassle of buying it, and then I'm stuck with it. You know, come on, where is it? Where is it? Yeah, it's this one. Boop. Yeah, this thing here, I cannot get this to run properly. The detent's garbage, and the lock bar has been tweaked and tuned, trying to get it to create pressure to the point to where it's created so much pressure that now the knife doesn't close properly. So if I hold that lock bar over, the tension on that blade is non-existent. So all of the pressure to keep this from closing is from that lock bar. And is it a strong detent? I mean, it is. You know, it snatches it, but trying to get some detent pressure so that this thing will run properly, you know. So I have looked in there to see if the detent ball isn't sitting properly, but I can't. I've got a little diamond file that I've worked on the hole. I mean, I've done several things to this knife, and when it catches that detent ball, I mean, it snatches the blade in. So, I mean, I have to assume that it's working properly, but man, for that blade to come out of there to try to fail this knife, yeah, just, I can't get it to run. So, I mean, I brought it up, so I figure I better share it, because if it was me, I'd be like, well, what knife is it? You know, don't let me buy it. But I'm not telling you not to buy it. I've never gotten a knife from TWOSUN that runs that poor. That I mean, you know, I've gotten a few that needed a few things. And I don't mind, because, you know, I'm not scared. I'll take it apart and see what I can do to it. But that particular knife, it's got me whipped. And I've had it apart. It's one of those that, you know, in the evening, you know, 10 o'clock at night, I'll go, you know, I'm going to work on that and see if I can improve it. And I've taken a run at it a few times. And frankly, I've admitted defeat. I'm like, yeah, that thing's got me beat, man. I can't. I wish I could figure it out. If somebody's got an idea, feel free to give me a comment. And that's a whole lot of time on this knife's moment. It's video talking about that other bummer knife. But you know, for me, I'm kind of saying it's a one-off, because I've never gotten a TWOSUN knife that I couldn't tune and get right. That's my first. So I don't know. Maybe I'll reach out to DWin and just tell him it won't run properly, and see if he'll send me a different model, and find out if it's a fluke. I think what I was going to do was I was going to check for videos on that knife first and see if anybody else is posting a video that's similar, has similar detent issues. And if they do, maybe it is a design issue. But I've seen other videos on other knives, and I watch and I go, mine's not like that one at all. Mine runs perfectly. So, it doesn't mean anything if, that I have it. It's just, is it every knife? Let's put a little drop of oil on the backside of this. Try to get this video moving along for this knife. Maybe there's dudes watching this going, hey man, could you get on task there, brother? You're pretty distracted. Yeah, sorry. All right. This screw had some tension on it, so I'm not going to be thinking Loctite. Doesn't mean I won't come back and add some if I feel like it's not going to hold well. It's kind of not something that I like to play with. I mean, in the end of the day, it's like, I have motorcycles, and if I'm putting my motorcycle together, if a screw feels like it's fitting pretty well, I still take it apart and put Loctite on it. I mean, I don't need a screw falling out going down a road. And to be honest, I don't need to be carrying a knife in my pocket and then have a screw fall out of it. Yuck. When I could just, especially if it's not completely tight and locked in, and you can tell. If it's not like that, why wouldn't I just Loctite it? I've got it apart, I've got a screwdriver in my hand, and the Loctite's within arm's reach. All right, what do we got here? I will say that now I can tell that this lock bar, it's got a lot of pressure on it. But that thing's flying out, and it's basically dropping shut. So I think I'm going to stick with this tune. Let's see if it's got any play. None there. And none this way, or twisting. A little regiment that I run through. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to try to fail it. And I'll try that pocket clip. Let's see if it cuts. No. So just the lightest pressure that I can put on it, and it flings open. So I most definitely am not going to mess with that detent. I'm going to say it's perfect. I can tell that it's got some tension on it, but it's running wonderfully. Does it cut? Let's see. Come on now. Ooh, look at that. Tiny little corner cuts. Yeah, I mean, this thing's sharp. I think it does have a tiny little burr on it, though. I'm going to run it real quick. I mean, I guess maybe some would turn the video off and not stick you in all that, but it is part of my check-in process, and when I'm done with these videos, I'm kind of in the mood that these knives go into storage. I store them. I put them in a knife bag with some other knives, and they're in a place waiting for when I have time to pull them out and go, hey, let me re-look at this knife. I want to hold it again and decide whether I should give it some pocket time. And I don't want to put it there if I don't have all these bugs worked out. Like, I don't come back to these things. Yeah, it's just wicked sharp now. I am going to get a different piece of paper just to, I don't know, convince myself, I guess. Struggling with that tiny little piece. A little phone book paper. Yeah. Okay, I'm convinced. Yeah, super sharp. A little strop on it. It had just I don't know, there was a couple of little dead spots where felt like I was catching a burr or something. And I knew if I stropped that, it would just go away. Especially on that M390. And I know a lot of guys are concerned about stropping and all this. Man, the videos pop up on my feed too. And I don't know what all that's about, but my angle on my strop is basically set to this. So when I strop, it's not, it's not way up on an edge, just getting the very edge. Like I'm running that bevel, and so I'm just knocking a burr off of it. It does kind of, sometimes it'll polish it up if I run it a few times, because I do have, uh, what's it called? Rouge. I'll use white rouge when I'm stropping. So, can it polish it a little bit? Maybe. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get a burr off. That's all. So, anyways, action's great. Sharp. Let's see if it's got the curse. Yep, so this is a pass. I can't catch that tip. I'm happy about that. We are open here, so can I get that blade? I cannot. So this is a pass. To me, there's no opportunity to cut yourself with this knife. You can just go deep in the pocket and reach in there with confidence without having to worry about getting a tip under your fingernail and cutting yourself or whatever. I don't see any detent lash here, and I'm pretty sure that, yeah, nice and strong. Let's see how it goes in the pocket real quick, and I'll wrap up. Yeah, so with my thicker shorts, that pocket clip works perfect. It goes in one-handed, comes out one-handed. I don't have to use two hands to function that. It's not absolutely aces, but it's functional. Yeah, so last thing, price. What did I pay for this? It's the TS16 and M390, and like I say, I saw this one a long time ago, and it showed back up on eBay recently, and I paid $79 for that knife. So, I mean, come on. How do I not finally put it in my collection when $79 got that bought at 2 o'clock in the morning one night? So, I mean, I don't know if it was 2 o'clock in the morning, but yeah, cool knife. I like it. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up, man. That thing's aces. Cool knife. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.